Hello everyone again, this is Elena again about motherhood with no hassle. I'd like to discuss a very simple and very important topic today, such as motherhood instinct, motherhood intuition, however you'd like to call it. I will be talking about mom's intuition from my standpoint, since I'm mom standing with my child. However, I'm referring to any person who spends most time with a baby. It can be dad, grandparents, nanny, whichever the case is. Again, it's about anybody who knows the child well, who knows how to read child's signals. Sometimes we look at somebody's kid and we don't know why the kid is crying, is upset, so on and so forth. However, when the same thing happens to our baby, we know exactly what's going on. With time, with experience, we've learned how to understand why he's upset, what happened, is the baby hurt, so on and so forth. So what are we supposed to do in the situation where something's going on and we don't know what it is? We don't have any expertise. For example, the child is too little, or something extraordinary happened. And I'd like to share my experience. When my baby was a little bit over a week old, I got that feeling overnight that something happened, something is off. He wasn't crying, he was sleeping well, he was eating well, but I had a feeling that he is very irritated, and he all of a sudden didn't like when we touch him. So he was crying. He was really cranky when we were bathing him. He was really cranky when we were changing him, so on and so forth. So what did I do? I called parents that had children and I asked questions. And they've told me that maybe he is the kid that hates bathing, or maybe he just doesn't like being touched. When you change him, he's still getting used to that. Or someone told me that, well, hey, boys, they are more cranky than girls in general, so on and so forth. And I did trust, and I still do trust those parents, and those were reasonable explanations because those things did happen to them. However, I had the feeling that somehow it doesn't apply to my child, and I didn't want to be that crazy mom who exaggerates and overreacts and overprotects that child, because usually everybody makes fun of those moms and think that they're crazy, overprotective moms. I didn't want to be a part of that group, and I had a really deep inside conflict between thinking, hey, I know something is going on, but everyone else is saying that it's fine, the baby is new, the baby is changing, he's just gonna be maybe a cranky baby. And I thought for a couple of days, probably they're right, because everything else seems fine. Maybe he's just a cranky baby and I'd better get used to it. A few days after that, I had my second visit with a breastfeeding specialist, and she saw the baby for the second time, and she did agree, in fact, with me that he looked off. So she suggested that I go to the pediatrician, which I did right away, and it was the worst experience in my life going to the pediatrics office, because the doctor told me that the baby is not gaining weight, the baby is cranky because he's hungry, and that I spent too much time worrying about establishing breastfeeding, and I should be worrying more about feeding my child. I felt horrible because out of all the reasons I thought that could be happening to my baby, I've never thought that he's simply hungry. So what did I do? I followed the doctor's advice, who is expert with kids, in kids, right? And I started feeding my baby twice more and twice more often. Sure, it didn't solve the problem. And the next day I woke up with the definite feeling that my child is in pain. I went online and I googled symptoms. How can I understand that my baby is in pain? And one of the symptoms was that the baby usually vomits a lot. Surely that happened right away, and I got definite feeling that yes, I have to be very cautious. Something is going on. At this point, I didn't care if I was exaggerating, if I was overprotective mom and all that craziness. I grabbed my child and went to the ER. Right away after taking his blood work, they told me that he had blood infection and he was cranky because he was very ill and he didn't like to be touched because it was causing him pain. So we had to stay in the hospital for almost a month, and then other visits and follow-up, so on and so forth. So my very sad story, actually, it was an awful experience. I think it has a very positive approach to the situation, and the bottom line of that is, moms, if you think that you don't have enough experience in certain situation, trust your instinct, trust your intuition. It is something that is born with your child to protect your child, to protect the child's health and well-being. And in reality, you're the only parents, are the ones that are responsible for their baby, not the doctor who is just doing the job, not other people. You are the one that will stick with your baby for many, many years. And please, if you have to sometimes go against people's advice or opinion or doctor's expertise, do so. Maybe get a second opinion, a third opinion, find a specialist that you truly trust and believe, and do whatever it takes to fix the situation for your baby. I don't encourage you guys to become anxious moms and to run to the pediatrician office every time you're positively sure something is going on. If there is a situation where you go to the child's office every week and every time it turns out to be nothing, there is probably some level of anxiety that is completely separate from the child, and it's really great to work that through, so it will be helpful for mom and for the baby. And also, I don't encourage you guys to disregard completely other parents' experience, advice, so on and so forth. It you know how they say it takes a village to raise a baby, and it really, really does. And it would be impossible for me to raise my child without asking constantly for help other moms, other parents, dads, grandparents, relatives, so on and so forth. So again, just to sum up, please, please, please trust your intuition, trust your instinct. It is here to help you and your baby. Absolutely get and share advice with other moms, with other parents, online, however you like to do research. And again, I don't encourage you to become overprotective and anxious mom. And overall, I wish that you guys don't have experience like that. I do wish that your baby is healthy. And please, if you did have experience like that, if you had a situation very similar, please share with me. Let us know what you did so we could spread the word and help mom to get in better touch with their intuition, with themselves, for the sake of baby's health. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.